and said something like, "She's sewing ya be Yahweh," and I felt it in my bones. And and every name that is a name in Yoruba movie, they just packed in there. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Yoruba Movie Reviews. And today I'll be reviewing a movie called Jagunjagun. Jagunjagun means warrior. Jagunjagun is on Netflix. It's produced by Femi Adebayo. So the plot is basically about a warrior called Ogundiji, and this warrior was played by Femi Adebayo, and this warrior fights with might and charms and is quite mean. He's used by corrupt chiefs and kings and regents to fight their battles. So one time he tortured one of his warriors to death, and the warrior's fiancée sought vengeance from the gods. One of the warriors that Ogundiji was training, this warrior is called Bodija and played by Lateef Adedimeji. This man had supernatural powers and was able to save him from that vengeance, save his family from that vengeance. And instead of being appreciative, Ogundiji got threatened by this warrior's powers, and since then started seeking ways to end his life by setting him on ridiculous challenges. To what end? You have to watch the movie to find out. So let me get into why I like the movie and why I do not like the movie. There'll be spoiler alert, so you know how to now. What did I like about the movie? I love the intro, the aerial view, the way they use their drones. It's like I was watching a documentary, a David Attenborough documentary. It's like when you're about to go, when they're about to introduce us to a separate kingdom or to a separate village, they kind of give us this documentary intro, which was really beautiful. The shot was really beautiful, so I love that. I love the set design. There was a lot of thought put in the set design. They took their time to build so many sets because I think some of these structures are not, they were not there before. They had to build them from scratch. And it's also the detail in the structure. When you're building a structure for a movie, it can be woo-woo, it can be we are going to tear it down soon. But there's so many details. The carving of the structure was so detailed, to show how rich our culture is and everything. So I loved it. Another thing I liked that was the costume. Femi Adebayo's costume, Ogundiji, when it was like his cape was so long and luxurious. I love that. I love the costume the regents were wearing. Everybody was looking so beautiful. Although I was a bit confused to the princess. She had so many colorful beads on her hair. I was like confused. I was like, is that our culture? Why are they trying to make her look so childish? Because they were not portraying her as a child. They were basically portraying her as an adult woman. And there were so many colorful beads on her hair. And I was sort of confused and just looked off. But apart from that, so beautiful. You'll be so proud to be Yoruba or to be Nigerian or to, be associated with that culture. So I love that bit as well. Let's talk about the cast. Kilo day. It's just and every name that is a name in Yoruba movie, they just packed in there. Kilo day. Start with Femi Adebayo, Lateef Adedimeji, Bimba Ademoye, Dele Odule, Faith Balogun, Odunlade Adekola, Peju Ogunmola, Yinka Quadri, Ibrahim Chata. Like I just kept seeing people, Ibrahim Yekini. I just kept seeing people. I'm like, and it's not to know people I'm seeing are going to have extended roles. It's like some of them will have very short roles, and it was just so beautiful to see all this veteran actors, good actors, well-known actors in Yoruba movies. It was so good to see them together, and they acted so well. The directing was so good because I saw a range within an actor I've never seen before, like Ibrahim Yekini. his acting range. I've never seen him act like that before. There was one time he looked at the screen and looked at directly at the audience, we that were watching, and said something like, "She's seeing Yahweh," and I felt it in my bones. And when Yinka Quadri, that was playing the wise man, was trying to tell the warrior how strong he was. I think it was called Bukunmi in the movie, and it was somersaulting, showing his strength, all the stunts. I've never seen that range from Ibrahim Yekini before, and it was brilliant to see. Even Femi Adebayo, like his range, and Lateef Adedimeji, I think he even buffed up for the role because it was looking quite like, okay, let's start with Femi Adebayo. He had a twitch. He was always doing like this in the movie. They did not tell us the reason for the twitch, I believe. But he had a twitch, which made it seem like someone you don't want to mess with. But it's just the range of Femi Adebayo as an actor and Lateef Adedimeji as actors altogether. Because there's this Yoruba series on YouTube that Femi Adebayo does as Sisi Pelebabi, Sisi something. It was one hairdresser that always looks for trouble and was quite effeminate. And Lateef Adedimeji also performs an effeminate role in YouTube as well as this woman that sells lace and looks for people's trouble. So it was very interesting to see them in a very hyper masculine role, warrior and not to be messed with. And they really played their role. It was believable. It was like I was looking at a different character, believable character. So it was so beautiful. So I would say good acting and good directing, because the director can also bring out the best in you. Anyway, so I love that bit. I love the cast. I love the range, the broad. I love the different dimensions and everything. So kudos to the cast. Kudos to the main characters. Kudos to everybody. It was lovely. Yeah, and we also saw our comedians now, Mr. Macaroni and Woli Agba. Lovely. And they brought their comedy crew. And I will tie that into... The storyline was quite intense because it was about war, it was about betrayal, it was about power, it was about, jazz and charms and everything. But bringing Mr. Macaroni and Woli Agba, they kind of brought a little bit of comedy into it. And spoiler alert, I'll say what I mean. For example, when Mr. Macaroni was skiving in the forest and, chopping food, when he was supposed to be in the war front fighting, and that was just kind of funny, like, and the things he was saying with his mates that he was skiving with. And when Woli Agba was trying to find a wife, and the wife didn't jar him face, and the comedic value that brought and everything. So that was quite cool. I loved that bit. I loved the makeup. The makeup was realistic. It was gruesome. I would tie that in with the stunts as well. The stunts people really did their job. It was about war. It was when they were cutting themselves, stabbing themselves, leaving scars, they were believable. So I'll give them thumbs up. At some point, I had to cover my face because when I see a slicing scene coming, I just cover my face because they made it so gruesome. So yeah, that was really good. Kudos to that. And the theme's music, beautiful. They tied very well with the movie. And the picture quality, as I said before, the picture quality was like I was watching a David Attenborough's documentary. Like sharp, clear. Anyway, I don't expect any less. It's Netflix. It's a Netflix. Yeah, it's Netflix. So, got to be good. Netflix production. I didn't expect any less. But still, anyway, kudos to them. Last but not the least, to tie everything together, I've liked the area, the way it was shot, the area view, the set design, the costume, the power packed cast. I've liked the characters, I've liked the makeup, I've liked the effects, I've liked the theme music, I've liked the picture quality. At one point I was like, can a budget movie? Because from the look of it, as one hour go, one hour. And there's a saying that goes, better soup na money killer. So when you see the movie, you know that they spent money. They really spent money and the money showed. So I was really glad that, we've gotten to that level. I think we've gotten to that level in Nigerian movie, but I would say Yoruba movies, it's going with movies like Anikulakbo and them and Kulia Folayo movies. So I'm really glad we're doing another one that's just kind of big. I think it's number 9 on Netflix now. It was on number 7 when it first came out in UK. I don't know about Nigeria. I bet in Nigeria it'll be one of the top 5s. So that was really good. So what did I not like? Not much. Not much. Because the movie was so good. I did not like that. Some of the effects were kind of unrealistic, and I think I was watching it with my partner, and we were talking about that at this day and age, some like we should have gotten to that point where our effects should be more believable. Like for example, for me, it was when a tree, when they were trying to show us the extent of Lateef Adedimeji's power, that was what's his name now, one of Bodija's powers, that it could communicate with trees, it could disappear into trees, it could move trees and everything, and a tree fell in his path, and it was trying to raise the tree to go back up, and it just looked so weird and so natural, and it's like, what's this? The CGI could have been done better. That was a bit off. And also, sometimes the fighting scenes were not matching. So, when you see someone do an action, you want to see the process of the action and the end of it. So they'll show us the action, maybe someone being stabbed, and they'll show us someone about to be stabbed, and they'll show us the end action. The stab has already happened, not the stabbing happening. So it's like they just missed out the middle bit, the process, and they just moved to the end. So it was just like a little bit miss and match. It's like we were missing some actions, although some were really gruesome. Some they carried it through. Some things they did not, we could not see what was really happening. And yeah, so I didn't like that bit. I did not like, I've said that before, the training ground that they built was similar, or the training ground that they built and some of the things they were doing was similar to that of Woman King, which made it seem like a copycat. But I've got to also balance that with Woman King was a replication of an African culture, and this is a replication of warriors in Nigeria, which is also an African culture. Maybe there are some similarities there in all African cultures that, their training grounds are like this. Or I don't know, I just felt that they were too similar. And maybe they drew inspiration from that. I'm not sure, but it was just too similar, and it was giving me flashback. And that's okay for there to be similarities. But when I felt Jagunjagun was a bit more low budget than Woman King. Anyway, and just the last part that I did not like was that they had a really power cast, but because the cast was so, full of, good actors and actresses, some actors, you only saw them for a very few seconds, not few seconds, like few minutes on scene, and it felt like just a waste. Like in the beginning, we only saw Odulade Adekola in the first scene, and that was it. It was killed off. They did a Game of Thrones on us. It was killed off. I was like, if they are killing Odulade Adekola in the first scene, who else did they have first in the rest? Then in the end, last scene, we've got Ibrahim Chata just on one scene. So I'm like, such a waste. It's a waste. Why? So I did like that bit because I would have loved to see more of both of them. Yeah. And that is about it. Apart from that, I really enjoyed the movie, and it's a good watch on Netflix. And I will implore everybody to go support our own and watch it. So review. I'll be giving the movie 4.8 stars because what they tried. Yep. All right. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you very much for watching, for listening, for subscribing. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.